Jared Couture here with Kung Fu Music Lessons, and today I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Joe Ott. Say hello, Joe.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for the interview.
Thanks so much for joining me, Joe. And just a quick background on Joe for you guys. Joe right now is currently a green strap in the program Kung Fu Music Lessons, almost a blue, right
On the
on the.
way.
He has been an incredible student. This dude has learned so much music. It's amazing. So I got to give you a big shout out, Joe, because you've just done such an amazing job, and I'm just very uh, astounded by your work. So good job. But anyway, Joe is the owner of Ott Law Firm and
Mhm.
also the chief legal officer at
Yeah.
mytalentchecklist.com. Could you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about Ott Law Firm, what you do, and then tell us about what you do on the other side as well?
Yeah, sure. So I am an attorney. I've been practicing for about 7 years now, and I've had my own firm for 4 years. We do a bunch of different types of litigation. So we do civil litigation with personal injuries, workers' comp, and that type of thing. But we've also in the past few years gotten more and more into entertainment law, and we actually have a number of clients right now that are artists, and we've helped them with different things, including negotiating with record companies. We represented record companies in negotiating with artists. And we've also worked with different bands on doing band agreements and that type of thing, and then all the intellectual property associated with that. So we've gotten more and more into that in the past few years, and really love the work. As a musician myself, I also, have a particular passion for helping other musicians. And in order to facilitate that part of my business, I started mytalentchecklist.com with a few partners. One of the partners is a underground hip hop artist who's been doing that for like 20 years, been doing promotions and that type of thing. And the other is a graphic and web designer. And so mytalentchecklist.com provides managed services for artists. So for a yearly fee, we provide a website and all of the associated marketing associated with what artists need to get their music out there. And then we also provide legal services, including corporate documents, and we also provide intellectual property like trademarks, copyrights, and that sort of thing. So,
That's so cool, Joe. Very good that you got all this stuff going on. And on the checklist, I just want to ask, did you kind of just now list out the checklist of the things that you have to have, or is it just a certain things that there's certain things that the musicians need? Can you just talk a little bit more about what
yeah,
that
sure.
check?
Sure. So the talent checklist, the first few components of it are the legal components. And from a legal perspective, you need to have an LLC. You need to have, if you are a band, you need to have a band agreement. If you are just a solo artist, it's helpful to have an operating agreement for your LLC. And then you need to have a bank account, and you need to have a federal EIN number. Okay, so these are the initial prerequisites, in my opinion, to running a successful music business. The reason these are important are that if you are trying to run your music as a professional and have a business associated with it, you need to have clean accounting in terms of how much money you're spending and how much money you're making. In the long term, this is very beneficial because you will then begin to get access to credit capital, and so you can make expansions in your business more easily. And then also, this is important because it provides a defined ownership structure for your intellectual property. So, under the United States Constitution, if you're an American, whenever you create a work of art and it's fixed in a tangible form, you automatically own a copyright associated with that. But if you want to truly own the work and exploit the work in a way that's going to have the most clear long-term income structure associated with it, then you want that copyright and that intellectual property to be owned by your business, and also to have all of your revenue flows going into the business from the copyright. And so this is a very important thing to do as you develop your work, because it allows you to exploit it commercially in a more easy, tangible way. It allows you to prove how much money you're making, save on your taxes each year. And so this is initially very helpful. The bank account and the EIN number are helpful because you need the EIN number for the bank account. But also, if you're going to have contractors that you're paying out for the purpose of the federal income tax, you need to say where you're sending the money to. And a lot of musicians, basically, they do it kind of on an ad hoc basis, meaning that they kind of just, give the money around. They'll hire somebody, throw them some bucks and that sort of thing. And certainly that will work. The problem with it, though, is that at the end of the year, when you're paying your taxes, you're giving up a lot more money than you should because you're not keeping track of your business expenses as a business. If you can prove that the money you're spending on your music stuff, whether it's on lessons, on equipment, on marketing, on anything like that, if you can prove that that money is flowing out of a business account and you have an EIN number associated with it, you can deduct that amount that you spend from your income tax liability. And for musicians, this is very important because obviously sometimes money can be, a little bit tight and that sort of thing. Basically, I think in the longer term, if you really want to make a big sort of splash, you want to spend money, you want to set up a tour, you want to buy expensive PA system, you want to rent venues that charge a large upfront fee, then you want to have access to business credit. And if you have a business account and you have money flowing through this account for a long enough period of time, then you can have access to a pretty big credit line just from that. Most starting banks' business credit lines are about $15,000. And so if you have that $15,000 to play with, it can really assist in your business, basically. And so that these are sort of initial prerequisites, I would say. The other thing is, basically, depending upon what kind of artist you are and how you're trying to exploit your work, it's going to be very beneficial to register your copyrights for it. So it depends on, in particular, what you're trying to do. But if you're, for instance, a songwriter and you have a particular melody and chord structure that you consider to be very, valuable, that you think is going to be a hit song or something like that, you want to register that copyright. And the way that you do that, there's an application form with the Copyright Office. There's a lot of particulars for it. So you can register the copyright just on the finished version of the song, but you can also register the copyright on the transcription. So if you have the song transcribed, you have the chord structure, the melody written out, and the lyrics written out, you can have that embodiment of the song copyrighted. And then you can license that created work to have other musicians make it, or you can sell the copyright if you wish. And having all of that written out in a defined way so that the business has ownership of it is very helpful in terms of dealing with third parties that may want to exploit it. So if you have like a sync licensing vendor, or if you have a bigger record company that's interested in it, if you have an artist that wants to cover it, if you're having people download the transcription and use it in a certain way, this will control the income from it and make it easier to make money, basically. Then the other portions of the talent checklist are, you need to have your marketing in order. So you need to have a really effective website. And basically, with regards to the websites, our group, My Talent Checklist, has a graphics designer on staff, and we create these websites using Amazon Web Services. So these are like sort of cutting edge websites. They're very quick load speeds and that sort of thing. But we also have access to all of the Amazon technologies. So we can send out email blasts. We can send out mass text messages. So basically, like if you have if you have a song that you're releasing or a gig coming up that you want to promote, we can send out a text message to every number in your phone book, or a certain amount of them, promoting this gig. And artists find this to be very sort of helpful. And then also with your website, when people come to the website, you want to be able to keep track of who's interested in you and then do targeted remarketing to them. So every person that visits your website, you can keep track of that and direct the efforts to that. So this is another component of the talent checklist. And then the final thing is basically it's always good to have sort of a team on your side. And we have somebody who's been in the record or sort of recording industry for a very long time on our team. And so we can help with getting gigs in other cities and promotional stuff. So the way that we do that is with a solid electronic press kit. So with an electronic press kit, this is what you use to distribute regarding who you are as an artist, to make promotional flyers and that sort of thing. So that's kind of a long-winded answer, but basically it's a combined package with everything that we think you need to, absent of course the art, right? So of course you need to do that yourself.
Great stuff. That's an outstanding offer in business. So guys, if you don't have all of those things already in your checklist, get a hold of Joe. You know, these really are basics, and I want to say a couple things about a couple of those topics because yeah, they're very important.
Absolutely.
A lot of artists are great at the right brain side of things in the art, but sometimes fall off on the left side of the brain, which is a lot of this stuff. Like if you have a business, if you want to play music all day, every day and make that your life, you should have a business for your music. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And all those things Joe's talking about, he can help you start your business, set it up, understand certain ways that you need to deal with your finances because a large part of your business is taxes and finances. And that's why we have a business, right? To make money, right? That's and contribute to the world. So I would say definitely make sure you do have your business and you do start understanding some basic financial education and some basics on taxes. But if you don't know that stuff, don't worry, don't freak out. It's okay. Start from zero. You know, Joe can help you out. You can find other resources as well. But if you want to take yourself to the next level, I would say you definitely need to register your business. And then on another level, with the copyrights and all that stuff, this is our assets. So, you know, me and Joe do a lot of different things together, but in terms of finances, you know, like Robert Kiyosaki, your assets, get your assets to pay your base expenses. As a musician, we have intellectual property. We need to have that stuff properly registered so we can make money from it. And Joe said, you could sell the rights if you want as well. And I do that a lot when I'm hired for something because you can sell the copyrights for a pretty high price. When it's my own original music, I don't do it unless I was offered like millions of dollars or something like that. And I felt okay about it, which is totally possible. And that's why you need to own your music, because as a musician, you will make the most amount of money if you own your music and you make it. I want to tell a little story about a recording session we did with Two Cities, One World. And, you know, it's like these guys were asking me about like royalties. Well, you're a musician who recorded on our album. I paid for that. I said, the payment can be like this. I'll either pay you right now for your time, or I'll give you this percentage in royalties. And they took the right now. And I could have offered a dual one where I did both. But the thing is, the guy was really upset after I paid him after that. And then how do I keep making money and stuff like that? And what if you guys become famous and all this stuff? And it's like, sorry, but the people who write the music own everything and make the money. If you don't write music, you're not going to make much money. You're going to get hired for gigs. But if you want to make millions of dollars, you have to own your music. You have to write music. You have to be a writer. But there's that other element which Joe's talking about, and making sure that you got that checklist going and you register your music, you know, and you can actually earn from that. You're on BMI and ASCAP and you're copywritten and all that stuff, so you can earn. So these are some really important elements. Guys, again, if you don't have this already done in your checklist, hit up Joe. Do you have anything else to add on what I was just talking about?
No, not really. I mean, basically, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to talk and answer, questions for free and that sort of thing. I have people that call me a lot and just run stuff by me. If you want to send me something, I'm happy to do it. Basically, we're trying to do it on this managed services model where we have a bunch of people signed up for a long time. And, we just want to make sure that you're as successful as you can be. And then the other thing I would say is that, one of the benefits too to having the stuff written out is kind of the reduction of ambiguity. So just like you're saying with that guy that came in, I mean, I've seen before with bands that it can be really problematic if somebody has is going through troubles or something. They want to get somebody out of the band. There's disputes within the band about who's doing the right stuff and that kind of thing. And having a contract with your band can really serve you well in that circumstance, because then it's not as personal and kind of emotional, and it makes it much easier to resolve it and work out the differences. So basically, just that, it's something that's important. If you want to take yourself seriously, you should take your business seriously too.
Absolutely. That's a very good point. If you are a gigging musician and you are touring with bands and playing with bands, it would be wise to have a contract with the band for certain stipulations, certain things that you need. So that's another very key point there, Joe. I guess I want to ask about, like, what are some frequently asked questions that artists do come to you for? Like, what is some stuff that's been going on?
I think we just had somebody that came to us about that. With there was a problem with their band. They had an issue with one of the members, and they didn't really know how they were going to go about it. They had in-person meetings with the person before, but that person was also kind of a founding member of the band. And honestly, I've heard this story a million times. With the one person makes the Facebook account and makes the website, and then if that person leaves the band and you don't have anything written, they're going to take your name, they're going to take all of your social media followers, and you're not going to have access to any of that anymore. And that kind of thing can all be avoided if you have it written out in advance and defined how to handle those sorts of like band divorces. So that's something that's been coming up. I also frequently get the question about registering. So basically, people get confused about what it means to own a copyright to something. For instance, people come in frequently. Hip hop artists, they tell me that they want to copyright their name, and this is actually something that's kind of a crucial topic because, for instance, on Spotify, if you have somebody else that's releasing music under the same name, then when people search for you, they're not going to find your music, or it's going to be more difficult. So what you do in that circumstance is not actually copyright, it's actually trademark. But if you have a trademark to your name and somebody else tries to release music under the same name, you can stop them from using that name. And if, for instance, if they try to create a website using that band name and you own the trademark, you can prevent them from using that website name. So this could be very helpful, even if you are using a band name, somebody else is using the same band name somewhere else in the country, say. If they haven't trademarked it and you trademark it first, then you can stop them from using that band name. And so obviously I wouldn't promote any sort of like nefarious stuff, but at the same time also, like, I want to get the best results I can for my clients. And so this is something that pretty frequently basically comes up with people wanting to protect their names and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's very good. Another very good topic to be discussed. I know there is definitely a lot of this doubling going on with names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So wise, very wise thing to do again. And I also want to circle back around to the transcription stuff. This stuff, very good. Again, it's like the more things that you own as a musician, the more money that you're, but you have to take care of your stuff, legally as well, like Joe is saying. So if you guys need help with transcription work, you can hit us up. get your music completely transcribed, have charts, lead sheets, all that stuff. Also, if you guys need help doing that, you could jump in the program. Me and Joe can teach you how to transcribe it yourself. You know, that's the whole thing. But if you don't know how to do it right away, it's okay to have someone help you. And all
Yeah.
of these elements that Joe is discussing is going to make you more professional, more serious, and it's going to allow you to live the lifestyle of being an artist. That's what people want. That's really all we want, right? And we can make more money doing it. So very good topics. And I think that I'm going to leave it with that for today, because you discuss like many key, powerful elements that need to be discussed. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before? Yeah.
No, I would just say if you guys are looking to, the one thing that we can't do is to make you a good artist. And if you want to be a good artist, you need to focus on, developing yourself. And Jared and the Kung Fu music program is a really solid method for learning how to create beautiful music. And I highly encourage anyone that wants to take themselves seriously, they should take also the development of their music seriously, and employing a music coach. I think that, it's something that you should absolutely do. And basically, any professional musicians out there that are really, high level musicians, they've all gone through this stuff, and some of them still do. It's something that you should take very seriously, and Jared does a good job with it, so I highly recommend him.
Thanks so much, Joe, for those kind words. And I do got to say I agree, at least with becoming, the best artist you can be and being able to play this stuff. This is like the main side of it, right? Be the artist, be an outstanding musician, because it really doesn't matter how much marketing you have. If you have great marketing, but then you hit the stage and you can't produce the sound,
Not gonna work.
not going to work. It's going to be bad. So in combination with practicing as much as you can and becoming the greatest artist you can and the most knowledgeable, craft person that you can, we still have to have, we have that fun side, we have to have discipline in it. And then we have the other side, which we also have to have discipline in, both sides. So anyway, yeah, great topics. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Joe, so much for discussing with me. I really appreciate that. If anyone has any questions for Joe, I'll have his contacts in the description. You can check it all out. If anyone has questions for me, same thing. Please get in touch. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. I'll talk with you guys later.